Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined once again for the latest DiBella's Digest with the man himself, Lou DiBella. And Lou, as is now customary, how has your week been?
I'm having a very aggravating week, Danny. A lot of it has to do with minor league baseball and major league baseball and not boxing. Though I lost multiple fights involving my fighters because of opponents testing positive for COVID. Just had an incredible sort of turn of events with Amanda Serrano, who, started out, we were planning on her fighting Sarah Mahfoud, the IBF champion from Denmark, in a unification on what would have been a big show in December. That show fell apart for a number of reasons, but chief among them, COVID and COVID testing. We changed course and looked like we were going to have her on a Ring City show on December 17th. We were going to fight a Brazilian girl who was undefeated as a pro and was a top amateur, a girl that had fought, both Chantal Cameron in the amateurs and Tiara Brown, and, a quality opponent. She tested positive for COVID. We working around the clock, found a world-class girl in Argentina. She accepted the fight, signed the contract, and her airport, she lives 2.5 day, not hour, day drive from Buenos Aires, and her airport in Argentina was closed down because there was too much COVID in her hometown, and they were concerned about opening their airport. The airport closed. We lost a second opponent, and so now it looks like Amanda's going to be fighting on December 16th in the Dominican Republic against a Dominican girl that she had fought, before. They went 8.5 rounds with her, a girl who's a competent girl, but I got to get Amanda back in the ring. She hasn't fought, since January. So she's going to go down to the Dominican to fight a Dominican girl, just to get 8 rounds or get some rounds in. But it's just a roller coaster, between a lot. COVID's affecting a lot of things throughout the sports world right now, but it's certainly taking its toll in a lot of what I've been working on. And I had another fight almost fall off that we were able to rescue involving next week on the 17th. Charles Conwell's fighting in the main event on Ring City. Stephen Shaw, the former U.S. national champion, undefeated heavyweight, is fighting one of Joe DeGuardia's heavyweights on the same card. So I'm looking forward to that card. But I've had a lot of ups and downs across the board over the last week. I thought Errol Spence looked pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I think, as you and I had indicated, and it's interesting, Danny, how often we're right in our conversations. But I think we both had agreed that 100% of Spence, if he was right, was going to be too much for Garcia. And I think Spence looked most of the way, if not honestly, he looked as good or better than he's looked in some of his. I mean, it was a tremendous performance, and it was particularly a tremendous performance given, the time off and the severity of the accident he was involved in. I was incredibly impressed. I think that version of Errol Spence could beat Terrence Crawford. In fact, I would probably bet on it. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I would probably bet on it. But I thought Errol looked great. I thought you saw some things on that show, unfortunately, that were the dark side of boxing, because the idea that Chia Santana's fight was allowed to continue and that the referee and the doctor and the commission didn't intervene and stop it, nor did his corner, once again goes to a topic and a note I'm going to continue to raise every time we speak, and it's apropos. We got to do a better job protecting the health and safety of our athletes. And a fight like that, I'm a big fan of the fighter. He's a warrior, that kid, and he's been in a lot of wars. And I think everybody sort of knew that he was on the tail end of his career and maybe had too many wars. And in a situation like that, a fight shouldn't be going multiple rounds longer than it needs to when a guy is clearly damaged. A fight like that, where you're dealing with an old warrior, an old warhorse, and he did retire after the fight. But, I mean, God knows what damage was sustained that night. And we need to do a better job protecting our athletes from themselves and their own courage.
Couldn't agree more. Another worrying instance of that occurring. We've seen it quite a lot recently.
Yeah, AJ's fighting this weekend. I'm looking forward to watching it. Actually, I mean, I don't see him losing to Pulev. I think Pulev's way too slow for him, but Pulev could pop a little bit, and it might be entertaining. Um, it's not getting a lot of play over here. Is it getting a lot of attention in the UK?
Yeah, I mean, it's the first kind of huge event. It's the first event that fans are going to be allowed back in for. Only 1,000
Really?
fans, so a lot lower than AJ's used to, but it's still a kind of pivotal moment in the battle against COVID.
Yeah, look, it's good to get AJ back in the ring. The same way it'd be good to get Fury back in the ring. It's good that Canelo's coming back. It's good that Canelo's coming back in a week or so. I think it's important that some of our biggest stars get out there, because that's the only way we're going to really mobilize our eyeballs and fan base to tune in and buy and watch. So I think it's a net positive that AJ's back in the ring, that Canelo's coming back into the ring, and look, there's a reason to subscribe to DAZN this month.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And talking of marquee fighters coming back to the ring, we found out earlier this week, or maybe it was last week, but you had a positive reaction, I know, to Floyd Mayweather's latest return, this time against Logan Paul.
I didn't have a positive. I mean, look, Logan Paul lost to some dude who plays video games and is an internet influencer. So the idea that he's quote unquote fighting Floyd Mayweather, of course, if it's not serious boxing, but you know what? If people want to buy it, it is what it is. It's an exhibition. It's the same exact thought process that you and I discussed relating to Tyson and Roy Jones, relating to the internet guys fighting one another. That's not damaging boxing. Boxing's damaged itself. Maybe, if anything, all these exhibitions and Seniors Tour and everything else, and Snoop Dogg boxing series, which after watching his commentary, I'm really looking forward to. It may be more symptomatic that we're not putting our best product out and entertaining the maximum number of people with our traditional, pure, competitive boxing product. Partially because we're not putting out enough competitive, high-level boxing product. But this stuff's not responsible. It's not the idea that, oh, you're tarnishing boxing, you're damaging boxing. That's nonsense. You know that.
We know that Tyson, Roy Jones are far past their primes. The kind of ludicrous suggestions that they could compete with today's heavyweights is just that. It is ludicrous. However, Floyd Mayweather, could he still compete with some of the better fighters around today?
Yeah, I think you could take Floyd Mayweather off a bench, when he hasn't been training, and he's going to compete with world-class fighters. The same way, I think you could probably take old man Hopkins out of retirement, and he'd compete with a lot of, super middleweights or I mean, when you're that good, you don't forget how to fight. Now, are you what you used to be? No, but I mean, could Floyd Mayweather still come out and beat legitimate guys? I have no doubt. But I mean, this isn't a legitimate fight. Look, Logan Paul is way bigger. He's going to run across the ring and try to throw haymakers and see if he can hurt Floyd Mayweather. And God willing, Floyd Mayweather's going to pop his head off and not wait 10 rounds like he did with Conor McGregor. Now, am I going to buy it? I might watch it. I mean, I'm not enamored with it. It's a joke in some ways. But if people want to see it, and from entertainment perspective, people think they're going to be entertained and they're going to get a night of entertainment and they're going to watch it, then it's their prerogative. I think people got to lighten up and instead of concentrating on this nonsense, concentrate on the legitimate problems that are keeping boxing away from being what it could be.
Floyd Mayweather, we have to say now, as a businessman, is something of a genius. He's having incredibly easy fights for huge money.
Look, I mean, power to Floyd, man. Yeah. There's a reason. There's a reason that his nickname is Money. He absolutely knows how to make it. And in fairness to those two brothers, who, they may be goofballs, but they're goofballs with purpose, and they're laughing all the way to the bank. I mean, they are fairly good businessmen. And you know what, too? I want to be honest. I met both of them. They do work hard, and they do take their personal journeys in boxing somewhat seriously. I mean, Jake and Logan are working hard, man. I got no hate for them. Do I take them? I mean, if they want to tell me that if like Logan wants to say he's going to beat Floyd Mayweather, I'm going to laugh at him. But at the same time, if people want to pay for it and he's going to get paid a lot of money to do it, then God bless him. And the other kid, let me tell you something. I have in the course of my 20 years as a promoter promoted fighters that were less intimidating than Jake Paul. So, you know, I'm not going to shit all over him. I mean, do I take them seriously as professional boxers? No. Let me tell you something. If Jake Paul fights regularly and starts fighting like legitimate opponents and beating them, then like, let's see what he can do. But I'm not going to, boxing's not a pure enough sport to be a purist. That's my view of it.
Do you think Jake Paul's maybe a little disgruntled in that he's trained for longer than Logan? He looks to have some rudimentary boxing skills, but it's Logan that gets this huge exhibition with Mayweather?
I don't think Jake's starving right now, and I think he's making some money. I think as he continues to be involved in more exhibitions and more grudge matches and more fights, I could see. I mean, I was laughing this week at some of the people he was calling out, like LeBron James and Clarissa Shields. But you know what? He's having fun with it, and I think he's going to figure out a way to make big dollar also. So, I mean, I don't hate anybody's hustle. I don't. I wasn't raised to hate somebody else's hustle. I also am a firm believer that, like I've always told you, cut it out, Topolino. The boxing is a subset of the entertainment business, and if people want to pay to be entertained by even exhibition level boxing content, then that's their prerogative. And if exhibition level boxing content is hurting our serious content, then that's an indication that we have other problems as an industry and a sport that we need to address.
Great stuff. Well, it's been fascinating, as always. Next week, we'll talk about Canelo and Callum Smith, which will be the big fight to round off.
I look forward to it. I got to get back to work. I got to get on baseball calls right now because I'm getting hosed in that arena also. And I hope everybody has a great weekend and next week. And I'll talk to you next week.
I hope you have a better week as well. Good luck.
Thank you, my friend. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.